Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Roland and I'm here to show you guys the Kia EV3. Yes, this is the top spec, as you know we love. This is the GT line. So this here is in the color called Matcha Green. What do you guys think? Let me rotate the camera around and I'll talk you guys through some details. So look at that. So the full range for the EV3 starts from $47,600 plus on-road costs, goes all the way up to $63,950. So that's this spec here in front of you guys, which means you've got a drive away price of about $68,490 before on-road costs. So this car is purely front wheel drive across all the variants. It's got the same motor across all of them, which is essentially a 150 kilowatt motor, producing 283 Newton meters of torque. This one here is not a fast pocket rocket, I'll tell you that. This is actually the slowest, even though it's a top spec, it is the slowest from the entire range. So 0 to 100 in 7.9 seconds. That's right, I said it, 7.9 seconds. It's not a car that's going to, I guess, beat many other cars at the lights, but you do have instant torque and it actually does drive quite well, but more on that later. But either way, just this walk around showing you guys what a good looker of a car. Do you guys agree? Now, in terms of battery sizes, so this one here is actually quite big. It's got really good range also, so 81.4 kilowatt hours, and the Air standard range is 58.3 kilowatt hours. In terms of DC fast charging, you know, this car is actually quite decent, 127 kilowatt DC fast charging, and the base spec in the Air is 100 kilowatts. So 127 over 100, I think that's quite good. It's also got a decent sized battery, and I think for the most part, being a city-sized car, I think people will be quite happy, especially that you can get probably in the vicinity of about 500 kilometers for this one. So yeah, let me know what you guys think, but I've done the walk around. I'm going to show you guys some differences in terms of what you get in the GT line, and let's start to check it out. Oh, and I forgot to say, this car's competitors, what are you competing with? So this car, in terms of size, it's about 4.3 meters long. Key competitors, so I guess on the cheaper end or the lower priced end, you've got the BYD Atto 3 in terms of the sizing. In the upper end, similar to this one, you've got the Zeekr X, and you've also got the Volvo EX30. So anything within roughly that 4.3 meter mark, this mini hatchback slash SUV is probably going to be competing against it. So as I said, driveway price under $69,000, $68,490. Prices are negotiable because they are offered at dealers. So hopefully if you guys are interested and you do pick one up, you get a good price. Anyways, as I said, those are the competitors. Pricing wise, you know what it is now. So let's have a look at the nitty-gritty details of the car. All right, we've gone through a walk around of the car. So let's do a little deep dive and check out the car in more detail. So what do you have over here? So front, you can see some really nice lines coming over here. You've got a flat badging over here, so no longer do they have the big bulgy badge for Kia, which looks quite good. You'll see sensors down the bottom on the front along over here. You will not, unfortunately, see a camera on this car. So even being the top spec, you actually do not have 360-degree camera for this car. So you do have sensors over here, and then the headlights over here. Look at that. I don't know about you guys, but I think this car looks absolutely amazing, especially with all of these cube headlights over here. So let me try do another close-up look at that. So this here is unique to the GT line. The daytime running lights go down over here. That's standard across all of them, but the cubes over here are just specific to the GT line. Let's come around to the side. So you'll see blacked out mirrors over here, 19-inch wheels running on Hankook Ion Evo. Now the wheels on the top spec are of course a little bit different in design. It's got mostly black around. In the mid specs you've got a bit more silver, and then it's different again in the base spec as well. But this one is a 19-inch alloy wheel, so only specific to the GT line, as I said. In the mid spec it is also 19-inch but slightly different, and then in the entry level it is a 17-inch, so much smaller wheel, and they are Kumo branded as opposed to these Hankook Ion Evo wheels or tires. Okay, so otherwise on the side you've got your charge port over here. So it is a manual push. It is unfortunately on the driver's side, which isn't the best in terms of tight areas, but hey, at least you've jumped into the world of EVs and you're not paying for petrol, right? So that's always a bonus. So AC/DC port, it's good that they've now integrated this bit over here, so it's not something that's flapping around. They've made it really easy. And so let's close that. As I said, side mirror. Now you can see that this is actually pearly metallic. Hopefully the camera actually does show you guys. It's actually really nice. It's not just a flat black. But yeah, as I said, front doesn't have 360, doesn't have the camera there for 360, as does the sides, so all of that is missing, but it is a decent sized side mirror. More on that when we drive. Jumping further out, you'll see flat handles over here, and you'll see in this spec here you've got privacy glass, so it is a little bit tinted. You can see the differences between the two. And then door handles, as I said, the one over there is flat in there, and the one at the back is right there. See a shark fin antenna, and you'll see in terms of my height, I am about 172 centimeters. This is at my eye level right here. So I am kind of just looking at the top of it, and you can see that you've got a sunroof, moonroof, whatever you want to call it, there that can open as well. Let's swing around to the back. So over here you can see GT-Line badging, of course, and you've got the rear camera, which is up here, which makes it really good because it's not down below where the number plate is, meaning that you see a lot more detail over here. So Kia badging, you'll see the lights over here, definitely inspired by the Kia EV9. What do you guys think? Back looks really cool as well. And parking sensors, of course, across the bottom over there. And yeah, that's about it. Let's take a look at the boot. So electric tailgate on the mid and top spec, and usually you can control height by just holding that down in terms of storing height for memory. Now, what are we working with? So over here, as you guys can see, you do get this boot tray, which is fantastic, works really well. Totally blocks out light, covers everything from privacy side, absolutely ticks everywhere. You can see that it's a really functional boot space. So what do I mean by that? So you've already got hook points or tie down points over here, over there, and also down in here. Then you can also see that you've got this bit here that you can hold up. You do have additional storage down below, and you can also actually move this up and you can put it at the top here as well. So look at that. So you've got a full conversion. So you've got your normal boot here, which means that if you lift it up, you have even more storage down the bottom, or you can move it further down below, which means you increase your storage pretty much by that height there. So it's fantastic. And if I actually pull this out a little bit more, you can see that it's almost as if they're letting you get ready to put a spare tire here with that whole round shape over there, so you guys can be definitely prepared for your road trip. Now, what else can we fit in the boot? So you can see we've got here a slow AC charger, you've got a tire mobility kit, and of course we've got the V2L adapter. Seats do also fold down in this specific example, so that it enables you to have even more space. So as I said, that's how much space you have right now. With the deeper sub boot floor, you can put it up here so it's higher over here, and if you need to, it's just a flick of a button on each side and the seats drop down, and look at all that storage. So as I said, remember, if you lift the sub boot floor up to here, it's almost flat. So you do have that choice, which is absolutely amazing. Heaps of storage for a little car. And of course, you can also take this off over here as well. So very, very versatile car, especially at 4.3 meters. Fantastic city car. Alright, let's have a look at the frunk. So right here down the bottom, like a traditional ICE car, pull that once, you'll see the latch has come up over here, and there's a little latch on the right just underneath, where between the I and the A for the badging. And look at that little cute storage. what are you going to fit here? You can definitely fit quite a few cans. Look, in my honest and humble opinion, you are probably just going to put cables over here. You're not going to put shopping here at all. I mean, if you really wanted to, you could put like a couple of boxes of takeaway so it doesn't stink up the interior of your car if that's what you're concerned about. Otherwise, you've really just got windscreen washer fluid top up over here, and you've got, I believe, your 12-volt battery under here. Nothing else is going to be required for you guys. And yeah, it is actually quite deep, because not only here, you can see up here as well, and it does entirely seal it off. So that is the frunk. Made of recycled materials, I believe, environmentally friendly. So what do you have? So the buttons you've got here is to hold that down to open, close the boot. You've got unlock, you've got lock over here, and you've got a hold button. I believe the hold button potentially is just used to start climate control. And yeah, this car does not have the capability to move forward and backwards via the remote. So that's pretty much the key. Okay, let's have a look at the inside of the car. Now, car's unlocked. As you can see, the mirrors have unfolded, but it is push sensitive, so when you push it to lock and unlock. Now, when I open the doors, it doesn't unfortunately pop up by itself, so you do have to push it and pull it out. And it is memory seating in this top spec GT line. So what that means is you do have easy entry and exit. So what I mean by that is, watch this. If I hold the camera here and you can see inside the car, when I close it, you'll see the seat moves forward. And then when I open it, it moves backwards. Fantastic, easy access. So anyways, let's look at the door. So what are we dealing with here? So as I said, in top spec, you do have a lot more goodies over here. You've got cooling seats, you've got heated seats, you've got heated steering, 2 settings for that as well. And then memory seating for 2 people over here as well. Other than that, you've got your usual adjustments, controls for your doors and windows. And then you've got Harman Kardon speakers here. More on that later. Either way, as you can see, it is a full frame door, so it is not frameless, and it is obviously single pane, not double pane. Okay, let's have a look at the inside of the car. Now, when this car is unlocked, you'll see that the mirrors unfold. This doesn't automatically pop out, and you can push that to lock and unlock the car. So you're going to have to manually put your finger there, pull it open, and you will see that it does have easy entry, whereby the seats move back and forth itself. You can change that in the settings as well. Anyways, let's have a look at the door. So this is a full frame door, so there's none of that frameless stuff where you potentially have to worry about the window sagging. So it's fantastic, fully sealed. Then in the top spec GT line, you've got heaps of goodies over here. No blank panels at all. So 2-level steering heating, 3-level seat heating, 3 levels seat cooling, and memory seating for 2. You do also have further down over here your usual controls for your windows and door locks and whatnot. Because this is top spec as well with memory seating, you do have the ability when you put it on left, when you put the car in reverse, both mirrors on the side over here and down over there, they do also dip as well for the mirror. And then you've got Harman Kardon over here, which more on that later, but overall it's a fantastic sound system. And then you've got a cup holder over here, not massive one, and then just general storage over here. Okay, so let's talk about the seats. One of my favorite things to always talk about. So you can see this is 2-tone interior. You'll see also embossed over here is GT line right there. And let me pan down. This is essentially what the seat looks like. So 2-tone, very comfortable. There is no massage function for this seat, unfortunately, but that's essentially the whole thing. So it is very comfortable, don't get me wrong. And then in terms of the side settings, so you'll see in this top spec you've got lumbar support, your usual adjustments, and then you've also got relaxation mode, which is this button here. So if I put this forward, this is to bring it back to normal, and then when I push this back, so you can see it's totally lowering itself and essentially allowing you to sit back, kick back, relax and enjoy. when would you use this function? Realistically, you'd probably use it if you're charging or you're waiting for someone, in terms of picking up someone, and that's pretty much the only examples I could think of. Other than that, we'll look at the steering wheel in a moment. Something unique to the GT line, you also do get these sports alloy pedals. It's pretty cool. They've got the plus there and they've got the minus there, similar to, I guess, a battery, two ends, or plus to go, minus to stop. And that's pretty much it for the door and the seats. Any questions, drop it in the comment box below. Otherwise, let's get inside and have a look around. All right, so once we're in the car, what do we have? So as usual, Kia's styling is power on off here. The car is not always on. Twisting this knob over here, twist up there puts you in D, twist down turns to R, twist lightly is N, and then you push the button over here to put the car into park, or P, right there. Also down over here you've got some adjustments for your headlights in terms of height adjustment. You've got handbrake, that's opening closing the boot, and of course traction control. Also here, manual air vents. I don't know about you guys, but it is quite exciting because, I don't know, I love it. So manual air vents all around, which is really good. Very easy for you guys to control. The only downside is with electronic ones, you know, you can get it to swing in different fashions and different modes and everything like that to keep you cool. These ones are straight bang in your face, and I can tell you that with fan speed 2 at 19.5 degrees on the driver, I am feeling this in my face. So Tesla, take note, because I still can't control and I can't get cool air at my face. Anyways, let's jump further out and let's have a look at the steering wheel. So steering wheel, you've got various modes over here which you can actually set up. So once I hit mode, you can see that you can ensure that you click whatever option you'd like. So if you click mode and you go phone projection, every time you click mode, it'll open phone projection, which is essentially the smartphone functions. You also do have other buttons on the steering wheel which you can adjust over here as well. So those are all the settings, everything to do with the steering wheel over here. Now, that one there is obviously for your smart assistant. That's volume up, down, and to mute if you click it in. That's to change tracks. That one there was another custom mode that I just showed you, and that's quite self-explanatory. Pick up the phone. Okay, and over here on this button here, that just navigates or rotates through the various options over here. So if I push that once, you'll see this is for your GPS and the direction that you're facing. So mind you, this is only for the Kia GPS. This is not talking about Google Maps or Apple Maps at all, or even Waze. So push that again, then you can see that's basically for cruise control to allow you to see the distance as well. And then this one here is all about your current trip. So I'll scroll through here, but I'll hold the camera up at the screen over there. So this is your current trip. This is after charging. This is since last reset. This is the range guide based on your current trip and how you're driving. Then you've got tire pressure, and I think that's the last one. Yep, so that's everything you guys can see. That one here is for lane keeping assist or steering. That there activates your cruise control. That helps adjust and stop, resume your cruise control. And then that one there is just about lane keeping distance between your car and the next car in front of you. Okay, other things that you see, I guess this is pretty much a generic Kia screen that you see. So you've got speed, you've got warnings across the top over here. Power is when you step on it, how much power you're essentially pushing through the car. It's currently auto hold at 84%, where you can still do 460 kilometers, and it's saying a maximum of 608. Oh, and over here you see iPedal level 3. Now, why is this important? This is important because the Kia EV3 is the first car, or the first Kia vehicle to have iPedal 3.0. What is that? That essentially, first of all, helps you retain the memory settings, which is fantastic. How annoying is it in the previous cars where you put it in one pedal driving or iPedal driving, you know, you put the car into reverse or you change modes or anything and it resets. Now, if you have on iPedal level 3, if I stop the car, I come back to the car later, it's still on iPedal level 3. Fantastic. Other than that, you've got temperature, handbrake. Also over here, you've got all your aircon settings. And as I said earlier on, you do have some buttons over here. So temperature, fan speed, different modes, and then temperature for you as well. And this is all touch sensitive as well, based on whatever you need to do. So fantastic. However, it is still a pain in case you guys weren't aware, because it is a blind spot. I'm holding it here. That's pretty much where my eyes are at, so I can't actually see that quite easily. So every time I want to adjust, I'm either going to have to look a bit to the right, or I'm going to have to look a bit to the left, and then adjust it. Either way, let's keep moving on. So as I said, I love these. You've also got manual volume control over here, and you can turn on off. These are all haptic, so it's not a physical button. And down the bottom over here, we've got a couple of USB-C ports. So you can see this one here allows you to charge only versus charge and data, which means Android Auto, Apple CarPlay. That one there is battery only. That one there, if you push that, is your cigarette lighter port. Coming further down over here, you have wireless phone charging. Now this bit does actually protrude up a little bit, which is fantastic, because anyone with like an iPhone with a bigger camera bump, you can put it there and you look at that, the light goes on straight away. So fantastic, fantastic use of bringing that higher up, because I sometimes had issues with previous cars. I presume that one there is for when your battery is almost flat for your remote, that you can still start the car. Okay, and then next we have cup holders. So as you guys can see, the cup holders, you do have a push button over here. So by default, that's what it is. And then you do push that and that pops out. Now, can you fit your emotional water bottle or your Awala big bottle? No, you cannot. Please, Kia, can you just bring back what you did for the EV9, because I absolutely loved that. Other than that, you do have heaps of storage here, obviously for massive tissue boxes, or in my case, you can put your bottle right there. It is still annoying because it's going to keep rolling, but at least you can put the bottle somewhere, because if we look at the side over here, that's not really going to fit, is it? That's a no-go. Okay, and let's have a look at this. So this comes up. This is pretty much your stone marble bench top. No jokes, it's actually just plastic, but it is a fold out table tray. Why is this useful or not useful? Well, for me, I work from my car every now and again. Fantastic to put a laptop here. You can kind of twist yourself to work through here, or you could just sit over there and you can put your laptop over here. This can easily fit even up to a 16-inch MacBook Pro, very, very easily. So don't worry, guys. What this is also useful for, if you put your seat flat, you can also have your lunch over here as well. So that's actually quite convenient. You know, you can just lean over and eat your lunch. So fantastic. Now, word of warning, in case you guys weren't aware, this is only in the GT line. In the other specs, you do have storage instead. So you're actually trading that out. And as I showed you just then, you can pull that out and put it back in. So other buttons you've got over here, auto hold, parking sensors, hill descent, and also the camera. Now the camera, as I showed you guys, or I've mentioned, there is no 360-degree camera. So you've got parking sensors over here, and then you've got the camera itself over here. Mind you, the camera quality from Kia is always top notch. Absolutely fantastic. And you can see here, you've got a couple of settings over here. So that there is a zoomed in view, got a little bit of a zoomed out view, and this here is just sort of like a top down view. I personally think by default, this one is the best. And when you turn your steering wheel, it also turns as well, so you can really see where you're going. However, I must say, I do miss having a 360 camera, but more on that later. Next up, we have the glove box. So there is no specific digital lock or anything. It's your plain old pull it and there you go. That's pretty much all the space you're working with. Good to see you've still got that. And another view of the front seat, just so you guys can see again. Now, I don't believe this is real leather. I believe it's recycled materials. I'll double check, and if I'm wrong, I'll put it as an overlay. But that two-tone is specific to the GT line, as you can see right there. Then above you, you have a big glass roof. It is covered for the most part, and it's only this section here that is exposed. And what can you do in terms of opening? You can pull that open here. Look at that. What do you think? And it does come up with this wind buffer here, so it's not too loud when you're driving on the highway. So you can also close it halfway, so for instance I can stop it there if I want. I can pull it all the way down and I can stop it like that, and I can just push this up once to open and close, as in tilt. So plenty of options around. And lastly, swinging over here, we have your usual rear vision mirror. Quite good in terms of visibility from what I can see. Obviously a little bit impacted on the top for each of the seats, but overall, look, car is a decent shape, so it's okay. And then how can we forget the mirrors? It's a pretty big mirror on this side, and it's a pretty massive one over here as well. And in terms of lighting, it's a manual switch. It is LED, which is great. And lastly, if we pull this across, we can also extend it. So they really have thought of everything in this car. What do you guys think so far? Do you guys love this car? Have you guys bought this car? Would you buy this car? Let me know in the comment box below. But this is how I look. Very, very comfortable. Let's check out the back. Okay, we are inside the Kia EV3. So what are we playing with? So here's my head height. Just a little bit over 1 fist spare in terms of head height. This is pretty much how I look. So yes, I am over this second section over here, or the second seat. So good luck fitting 3 full-size adults here, I guess. In terms of comfort, right? So let me flip this around. So remember, this seat is actually pushed a bit further back because of easy entry. So how much space do I have? I've actually got decent space. So this seat is actually pushed down to the lowest setting, so I can feel the top of my feet touching it, but you can raise it up a little bit. I am stretched out, as you guys can see, so very, very comfortable. There's heaps of space. Realistically, I'd probably sit somewhere like this, which I think is perfectly fine. Otherwise, you know, I can rest my arm here. I'm quite comfortable. No complaints. And then up over here, you've got a hook for your clothing or for a coat hanger, grab handle for any bad drivers. You've got light over here, which is touch sensitive, and it is LED, which is great. Then in terms of map pockets, what do we have? So it's hard, but you can put stuff there. Cables maybe for your charging. So right there on each seat, you've got USB-C, 2 manual aircon vents, and then you've got a little storage bin over here. Then, what do we have over here? So, pull this one down, you've got 2 cup holders. As I showed you before, these seats fold down. They fold down just through that latch over here. And the other thing that's fantastic with this car is down in the middle seat, right here, hopefully you can see that, internal V2L. So that's right, you've got a power point right here. So if I had to point, once I'm sitting here, it is literally just right here. So if there's no one here and you're 2 people, you can use the USB-C ports, or you could use the V2L and be really, really comfortable. So that's the rear of the EV3. If you guys have any questions, drop it down below. Otherwise, let's jump on through to the next part. Okay, so let's talk heads-up display. So reminder that this is only available on the GT line. So if you are outside the car and you want to see, that's a quick point of differentiation. Only the Kia EV3 GT line gets it. Now, in your main menu settings, you can see over here, cluster heads-up display. That's the settings there. And then there's a heads-up displays over here. And that's pretty much all the options you have. So you've got enable heads-up display, display adjustment, which essentially is just moving up, down, and left, right, or the rotation, and along with brightness. And if we go back, you can also see content selection. So this one is turn-by-turn guidance, media information, core info, and driving assist info. And the last one there, blind spot safety information. So this one over here, as you can see here, gives you warnings such as vehicle control status, blind spot safety information not available. And then the blind spot information is more about the the little waves that come around the sensors for the car if there is an approaching car. Okay, it's a bit hard to record the heads-up display as I couldn't get the GoPro to focus, so I've just pulled over the side of the road just to show you guys. So basically what you see, or the information you see on the top left, is the current speed limit. You'll see on the bottom is the actual speed that you're going, and then the U shape indicates the actual lane or where you're driving. Now, if you've got steering assist on, or if it's on a highway and it's detected the lanes on both sides, that lights up a solid white light, a bit darker and bolder than what you see at the moment. You also do, if I push the steering assist on the steering wheel, it does pop up there as well. And so when the car is doing that, the road actually bends, or when the road bends the two lanes, the U shape, that kind of also bends as well. When you are driving, you can also see things like roundabouts and school zones. So just on the right of the 60, you do get a little icon that shows up that shows school zone and roundabouts as well. And then above the steering wheel icon, where you see it right now, there is a solid line. When you are on cruise control, you can push the lane keeping distance, and that switches between 1, 2, 3 and 4. Now it's not going to work now, it will show an error message. So if I push it now to show you guys, you'll see it says smart cruise control conditions not met. So it's not going to show you, but basically just below that orange amber light, that's essentially where it shows. Now the other thing as well, in relation to the heads-up display, besides the speedo, if you are using the stock navigation maps, let me navigate to somewhere and I will show you guys what directions look like on this.
The route guidance will start now. In 600 meters, take the first exit at the roundabout.
So you can see over here that in 600 meters, I'm going to have to turn left at the roundabout, and then the sign on the right is the next step, is step number 2. So you can actually look further ahead. So it means in 600 meters, I'm supposed to turn left, and then in 400 meters, I kind of take the right roundabout, or somewhere to the northeast on the roundabout. Now, also, because this has wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, just confirming that when you are using Apple CarPlay or Android Auto, I believe on Android phones, when you use Google Maps, it does show here. And on Apple iPhones, when you are using Apple Maps, it does also show here. However, if you're using an Apple iPhone, Google Maps will not show you anything. Waze also will not show you anything. Now, what you've got on screen is basically what Apple Maps looks like on the heads-up display. So it does look somewhat different. I personally think it's a little bit nicer because you do have the arrow and the directions there. It's not as good in terms of display as the Kia stock navigation, because the Kia also gives you the second step as well, which you see on the right hand side as I've shown you. But at least it's quite clear. What direction do you need to head? How many meters do you have left? And where do you need to go? So I think that's pretty good. And the other thing I forgot to mention is you also do see the parking sensors, or the car sensors on the corners when you do have the car in drive. So whenever there's a car approaching or you're getting really close to the sensors, it does show somewhere on the car that there is a car approaching, so to take caution. Okay, that covers everything you guys need to know about the car so far, from the exterior and the interior. I think the only thing left is to show you guys the drive. How does it drive? How does it handle? It's $1 million question, because you guys are going to be bum on this seat for a while and you guys need to know whether or not it's good. So let's go. All right, we are in the Kia EV3 GT-Line. Heavy gridlock traffic at the moment, as you guys can see, as we're heading back out to the hills. We're going to see how cruise control operates in this weather, seeing as there's a whole bunch of improved stuff with this car. And then we'll see how it goes also on the M2 motorway, on the highway, at higher speeds, hopefully. So let's go. So down over here, you've got this button on the top left of the steering wheel. Hit that, that should engage cruise control. There we go. And it says here, driving style adaptive, max 32 Ks. So now I'm just holding this left button up. So I'm just adjusting the speed now to 70 k's an hour. Now this should be just adaptive cruise control, which means that I am still in control of the steering. The car is just using the car in front as a sense check in relation to distance. Seems to be managing the speed okay. You kind of start to get used to it for a while, but it definitely does brake later. Like right now, you'll see that it gets towards the end and then it kind of slams on the brakes. Okay, let's also turn on this auto steering and we'll see how it handles that. Oh, better let this person out first. Alright. We'll turn cruise control back on. We'll turn on the steering as well. And let's see how this all goes. So we'll pop the speed limit back up to 60 k's an hour, I think it was. So right now we're at cruise control, lane distance 1. The speed limit is set to 60 k's an hour. Hopefully you guys can also see the heads up display, so you guys can see exactly what I'm seeing. So I haven't really had to look down here yet, so I'm actually all just looking up ahead. So just for context, I have not really been turning the steering wheel. I've let the car do all of it itself. I am though just holding it just in case I feel like in the last second the car isn't doing anything. Alright, we've moved up to an 80 zone, so let's flick the speed up. So overall, so far, the car seems to be doing fairly well. It's held up well in traffic. I think the only call out realistically is based on distance 1, the car does seem like it comes to more of an abrupt stop, or it does brake harder as it gets towards the car really close. It's not that it kind of slows down gradually as if you would do if you see cars stopped up ahead. Alright, so quick check-in on how the car's performing. Honestly, like the car's doing really well. I don't really have too much to say. Like, it's not twitching a lot. It is definitely holding speed very well. Now with the drop in speed limit, I'll just adjust that back to the speed limit now, which is 60 k's an hour. So we'll see how it manages the rest of this shortly. Alright, so update, we are doing fairly well. We are still in gridlock traffic, so I genuinely do not know if I'll be able to show you guys how this car performs at 100 k's an hour. However, based on going up to 80 k's an hour, I can confirm the car holds pretty well. I haven't had too many issues really with regards to the auto steering. It does keep the lane fairly well. There was one instance where it kind of veered a little bit to the left, and there was a warning sound that went on. And again, I'm not too sure if you guys can see the heads up display. Hopefully you can at this angle. I've tried to angle it the best to my ability as I could. And yeah, so basically what I see in the heads up display is I can see a vehicle in front of me. I can see where the road turns. I can see that the auto steering is turned on. The speed limit I've set the car to for the cruise control. I can see the speed limit and the speed that I am going. And again, this is lane keeping distance 1. And may as well do a quick check in terms of consumption. At the moment, we've driven for about an hour, 15.2 kilowatt hours per 100 k's. Alright guys, we're going to call it there for the highway test. If you have any questions, please do make sure you drop a comment below. Hopefully, as a part of this test, you guys have understood how the car has performed on the highway, how the active cruise control performed, how the auto steering performed, how good the cabin noise was in the car. And yeah, as I said, if you have any questions, drop it below. And also, if you got any questions around the heads-up display as well, hopefully you can see that as well, let me know. Otherwise, we'll call it there and we'll resume the next part of the video. Okay guys, I'm going to demonstrate to you guys how good or bad the turning circle is on this car. Remember, it's front wheel drive, it's 4.3 meters, it's supposed to be excellent. So, we're parked on the side at the moment, curbside. You can see in front of me, hopefully you can see through this camera over here, there's 2 lanes in front and then parked cars. So it's actually a total of 4 cars across, technically speaking. So we know that right here next to me is the lane that's driving. Over there, cars are coming this way. So if I indicate, let's see if I go full lock, whether or not we can make the turn without hitting that car. So here we go. Or almost. So 1 in a little bit. I'm just playing it safe. I honestly don't think that I would have made it, but there wasn't much. So all in all, what that essentially means is your turning circle should be probably just over 2 lanes worth. So realistically, if I just slow down, you'll see that black ute over here. We would have just needed a little bit more space. So I'd say roughly, if you're in that left lane and you need to do a full turn, it's roughly 2 and say a half cars for you to get through that. Okay, so guys, let's go for a drive. We've got really good weather today, so hopefully we can really test out this car and see how we go. So first things first, let's talk drive modes. So you can switch drive modes here on the steering wheel. Just beneath it says here drive mode is just beneath the horn. Now when you push that, you've got a couple of modes. You've got eco, normal, sport, my drive and snow. Obviously we won't be using snow mode, so we'll test the eco, normal and sport. My drive is just a customization between all of them, and so let me show you by switching over to this camera here in front of us. So in drive mode in the settings, you can see in my drive mode, it's basically eco, normal or sport for the motor, and then you've got normal or sport for the steering only. So realistically, we'll be able to test all of these as we kind of go through the modes. It's realistically the difference between steering if you want it in normal versus sport. So without further ado, let's jump into it. The one thing as well that you can change, which is through the driver's menu here, is brake mode. So automatic selection of the brake mode, which is feel, responsiveness, etc. optimized for your driving style. For sport, it says brake mode optimized for dynamic driving. For normal, it says brake mode optimized for comfortable driving. So I presume that's to do with you stepping on the pedal and how responsive that is. So let's leave that on normal mode. We won't switch that to sport mode as yet, and we are going to make sure that this is in eco mode for now. And remember, this car has iPedal 3.0, which means you have your level 0, you have level 1, level 2, level 3 for your iPedal, so it's all iPedal. You can also turn it off for reverse as well, so now it is enabled for reverse. And remember, because it's the new version, it also retains memory. So when you switch off the car and you're on level 3, when you turn it back on, it's also going to be on level 3. So it's really fantastic. And since you can also control the different levels, it means that you can let the car coast a little bit more on even level 1. It still will come to a stop, but it just means that it's going to come to a stop at a further distance. So it'll just coast towards braking. So not as harsh. And that's pretty much it. So the drive that we're going to do now, it's going to take, I'm going to say, 15 or so minutes at top, so I'll cut little sections through it. I intend on doing the drive now just within, I guess, the streets of the hills. We're going to do more city type driving because ultimately this car is designed for the city. It's a compact car at 4.3 meters, and there's no use that I just take this on the highway or I thrash it in the back end of the streets, or do some spirited driving only, because this car ultimately is not designed for that. We may potentially do that if we've got time still with this car, but I wanted to drive this car more as a daily so that you guys can get a feel for what the car actually is and how it behaves if you were to buy this as a daily. Now, in terms of range, we're at 82% at the moment. It says max 615 Ks, minimum 267 Ks. It says 468 Ks at 82%. That's on eco mode. If I switch to normal, it says 454, sport at 440. So at 82%, to still do 440 on sport. Now, obviously you won't get the full 440 range, but nonetheless, very impressive. So no more delays, let's get into it. So as I said, brake mode is on normal, drive mode is in eco. We are leaving it on iPedal 3.0. I'll tell you exactly how everything feels. So let's go. Okay, so first things first, I am noticing that on eco mode, I do have to, in terms of getting the car to move, I am having to push the car a little bit more than what I would normally think. So my foot was down, and yeah, you really do have to apply pressure for the car to even move a little bit. Now that ding you just heard is pretty much something that will happen every single time it notices a change in the speed limit. So the cameras will pick it up. Unfortunately, it is not as accurate as I'd like it to be. It's definitely not time-based. So, you know, sometimes when you're driving through a school zone, it will say school zone. It will pick it up even if it doesn't apply. Sometimes when, for example, you're pulling out onto the highway, if there's a big change in speed limit, but you haven't necessarily seen the speed yet, again, it's going to ding you there too. And so now that's the speed warning. So it's a 60 zone. It's telling me I've exceeded the speed limit because it's seen a 50 somewhere. And now it's saying that we're going 60 again. So it is somewhat confusing itself. Now, mind you, you can turn off some of these warnings. So I just wanted to show you guys the natural raw drive without editing anything out. So little bump, rough roads there. How did that feel? It absorbed it like a champ. Didn't really feel anything. It just went through and it took it. So remember, this is on eco mode. Key difference I think so far is what I'm noticing from the pedal is I really have to push it for the car to go. In city driving, I actually don't think it matters too much. I think it's perfectly fine for city driving. You'll get used to the amount of, or the amount of pressure, I guess, that you have to put on the pedal for you guys to get the car going. So it's not the end of the world. But if you're more in a rush, you will feel like you're going to have to stomp on the pedal a fair bit. But in terms of maintaining the speed, so if I need to get to the speed limit at whatever the speed limit is, yes, you absolutely will have to be putting some form of pressure, stepping down the pedal, say, you know, 10 to 20% at least, just to maintain the speed. So it's about how much pressure you guys need to actually step on it to maintain the speed and to get the car moving. So that's eco mode. We haven't had to steer too much yet, so I can't comment on that as yet, but so far it is extremely light. Alright, my foot is full down just to get through this. Okay, heading off the line, my foot is almost down to the floor to get the car going to 40 k's an hour on eco. And again, that's just because I want to close in that gap. So, as you guys have seen, I've driven pretty much a little bit in city traffic, I guess for better use of words, around the suburbs. And my honest view is that in this eco mode, it's actually enough for everyday driving, for anyone who just wants an EV that is easy to drive. Absolutely doable. And you get so much range as well. Like at the moment, I've been driving, we're down 1%, 81%. It's saying I can do 460 kilometers. That's wild. That's pretty much, I mean, it's an 84 kilowatt hour battery, so it's more than our Tesla Model Y performance. But at the end of the day, in a full charge, even if my Model Y performance was at 100%, I think it's only about 470. And that's only with about 6% degradation. All right, let's go. Planting my foot. Now, I don't know if you guys heard that. Obviously, it's coming out, there was a little bit of dirt. It did break traction a little bit. Still, obviously, within the speed limit, of course, but it is a front-wheel drive car, so, you know, the torque management does work, but just know that when you're on full lock, it is still expected being a front-wheel drive car. Now, this last bit for this test in eco mode, based on the motor, is let's plant it out here to an 80 zone. You definitely do feel a bit of torque steer trying to pull you in a front-wheel drive car, even if you're stepping on it. So we're now at the speed limit, so I'm just going to go quiet for a few seconds just so you guys can hear the road noise. Okay, so before we switch on to normal mode, I guess the last thing I'd like to say as a wrap up for this eco mode is, or as a summary, steering is extremely light. You definitely have to put a lot of pressure on it. It is kind of expected. You get so much range as well coming into that mode. And so I think for the most part, if you are just driving or city type driving, I think you'll be somewhat okay. All it means is that you do have to put a little bit extra pressure on the pedal if you guys want to keep the car going. But other than that, for city driving, I think it's totally acceptable. It's actually pretty good. Okay, so you've got the summary of eco mode. I'm going to switch to normal mode and see how that goes. Now, first things first, just because of the little nudging, little tweaks of the steering wheel just then, I can absolutely confirm steering is heavier. It's not heavy in a bad way, it just feels, I guess, more connected to the road. Still extremely light though, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that this is like performance handling. We'll still have to give sports a go, but normal is still quite light. I want to test how it goes in terms of maintaining speed and also acceleration. We know eco mode is very slow. So this is our 50 zone here for the time being. So let's plant our foot. Here we go. All right, so we're at the speed limit already. So that was okay, I guess. It didn't push me into the seat. It's obviously a slow car. It's not designed to be a sports car, but being an EV with instant torque, I think that is very acceptable. There wasn't a whole lot of lag. There was a little bit down the front at the start, but other than that, I think it's been okay. Steering wise, it's definitely heavier for sure. I think, you know, being normal mode, I think this is actually quite a good compromise. And in terms of maintaining the speed, you're definitely putting a little bit less pressure than in eco mode to keep the car going at the speed limit. Now, just stepping through this roundabout, I can definitely feel torque steer. So the car is working all its magic in terms of torque distribution to the car, or managing it so that we're not wheel spinning off the line. Again, it's not crazy power that this car has, but it is a front-wheel drive car at the end of the day, so you definitely will feel torque steer as soon as it's pushing power into the car. One thing that I've noticed so far between even eco and normal is that whilst I'm saying that there's a lag down below to get the car off the line, I can definitely confirm that, like in this normal mode just then, as an example, if I'm driving through a roundabout, it's actually totally okay. It's once the car's going, the lag is pretty much gone. It's very minimal. And so I don't think it's as much of a nuisance as I originally thought it would be. And the car drive is really smooth, guys. Like, this is a nice car. You do get body roll, I'll tell you that. So if you guys are not a fan of body roll, this is probably not a car for you. However, in saying that, and I've driven a few cars, you know, it's only sports cars really that have extreme minimal body roll, so it kind of is expected. You know, you take a corner harder than what you should on a car that's not a performance car. What do you expect? So hopefully that gives you guys insights on how this car has performed, I guess, in eco mode and in normal mode city driving. Okay, so hopefully that gives you guys an idea of what eco and normal mode is like. And also, while I'm doing this, guys, can you please take a moment, if you can, let me know your feedback. Is this the type of driving that you guys want to see in terms of my videos when I'm recording? So, you know, as an example, what I mean by that is this is a city car. This was built for the city. Is this the type of driving that you'd like to see, or what else would you like to see? I'm totally open to your feedback, because at the end of the day, I make this content for you guys, the viewers, to watch. And also, while we're there, thank you so much for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already. Okay, so we're doing 60 k's an hour at the moment. So let's now switch to sport mode. Oh, okay. I don't know if you saw my body movement just then, but at 60 k's an hour, I did feel a little bit of a jerk or a little bit of a push. So what does that mean? That essentially means that when you switch over to sport mode, the car is more responsive. The car will essentially, at the same percentage of pedal pressure, it will accelerate more. So I'm applying really, really little or minimal pressure on the pedal for the car to maintain speed. So basically, I'm almost just touching it, just stepping on it really gently. It's like you just want to step slightly on the jelly, but you don't want to break it. That already helps you maintain speed, so you're not actually stepping on it. So coming back to the original point of what I was saying on when you feel like eco and normal would be suitable, realistically, it's if you don't want to step on the pedal too much or your feet gets tired from driving. This one's perfect. And again, the body roll is there. The steering definitely feels stiffer, for sure. So there is a night and day difference between eco and sport, but it is nowhere near as stiff as sports cars. I can tell you that up front. And remember, this car's not designed to be a sports car anyway, so there's that. Okay, we've got a big roundabout here. Let's see how the car performs over here. So rolling through 40 k's an hour, step on the pedal a little bit. Oh, there's a bit of body roll there. And yeah, when you step on it, it's pretty much almost instant. So I'm going to reflect back to the Zeekr X that we drove. There was a bit of lag in the pedal feel there. There is less lag in this one here when you step on it, but there is a little bit. See how quick we can get out of this roundabout. Yeah, so the lag, minimal lag, I'm going to say. Lag is still slightly there, but it's almost non-existent. Not quite as good in terms of that pedal delay as a Tesla, I can confirm, but they've done really well. So in instances where you need to rush out of a roundabout, I think you'll be okay in sports mode. You'd have to probably plan it out if you're driving in eco or normal mode, because the lag is definitely there to get the car moving, but in sport mode it definitely is minimized by a fair bit. All right, I'm going to test this driving full circle again, how the car feels. Yeah, you definitely feel the body roll, but in terms of holding down speed and everything, look, I think it works pretty well. Okay, and that essentially wraps up all of the city driving and commentary between all the different modes. So if you guys have any questions that you feel like I've missed out, please do drop it down in the comment box below. I'll be happy to take the discussions there and answer any questions you guys may have. Right, the important stuff. Let's talk about what you get when you are buying the car. So I'm going to leave a gap here to my right so I can actually put a picture of each of the variants and what you guys get. So basically 3 trim levels, right? You've got the Air, you've got the Earth, and you've got the GT line, which is the one that we're reviewing now. In the Air, you've got a standard range and a long range. In terms of WLTP range, standard range is 436 and long range is 604 kilometers. You do get VTOL interior and exterior even in the Air, so that's across all the range. Fantastic. You've got a whole bunch of safety options, and you get rear air vents as well. Pause the screen and have a look at all of the stuff on the right of my head or on the left of my head, whichever direction it ends up being, to have a look at that. In the Earth, again, still two-wheel drive, but it's long range. So you got 563 kilometers WLTP. You get the 19-inch wheels. You've got smart tailgate, artificial leather seats, heated and ventilated front seats, heated steering wheel, power driver's seat, including lumbar. Now, if you love all your stuff, this GT line is the absolute one for you. You also do get a sunroof, which I actually didn't show you guys in detail, but it does fully open as well. You get premium relaxation seats, which essentially just put the seat back and kind of tilts it a little bit. You get the heads-up display, which I absolutely love. You get the 8-speaker Harman Kardon premium sound system, which again, absolutely fantastic. You've got the slide-out center console table, the one that looks sort of like a marble bench top. You've got ambient mood lighting. You've got LED cube projection headlights, which is that front headlight, all those dots, which look amazing as well. And if you love your partner, powered front passenger seat, including power lumbar as well. So there you go. How about that? Which one would you get? Now, do you have an EV3 already? I'd love to hear from you. If you haven't and you're considering one, let me know as well. Now, in terms of drive away pricing, so we'll set the location to Sydney, postcode 2000, and let me talk you through the pricing in more detail. Again, we'll have it onto the side of me to show you guys the entire range. So the prices that you see here are all drive away. So at the Air standard range is 48,990, Air long range is 56,490, Earth 62,690, and GT line 68,490. So GT line is of course the best one of the pick, and it is the most expensive, as it should, with all of the creature comforts that you get with the car. Is it worth it at this price? You know, I think realistically, if you're bound by a 4.3 meter car, or you do need to have a small car, I would absolutely buy this car. It'd be a hard pick between the Zeekr X and this car. Kia obviously having the brand name and the recognition that already exists. Zeekr still being the brand new car. You've also got the Volvo EX30 as well. But on this car specifically, would I buy it? Look, if I had to buy a car of this size, the answer is a definite yes, if that's what the question is. For me, I feel like it's a hard decision, knowing I love the top spec and I'm not bound by the space, right? So 68,490, this is, you can buy a Xpeng G6, you can buy a Tesla Model Y, you can buy a BYD C-Line 7, you can have a Geely EX5 with a lot of spare change. There's plenty of cars that you could get, you know, Smart Hashtag 1, Hashtag 3, all of those cars. You know, you're pushing, because it's a smaller car and it's a higher price, you're pushing into the territory of the medium SUVs. And so this is classified as a small SUV or a small or a medium-sized hatchback. And so when you get to that price point, as I said, you're pushing into the next level of category of cars. So that's the one thing that you guys really need to take into consideration on whether you actually need the size or not. The car itself, this EV3 GT line, is so versatile in terms of spacing. But when you have two kids and you've got a pram and stuff, you know, it's natural that you guys are going to try and look for a bigger car. So that's all I'm going to say. From my perspective, personally, I would absolutely buy this car. The great thing with Kia is that it is a dealership model, so the prices are negotiable, which is fantastic. So make sure you don't pay retail, and make sure you negotiate the pricing. So I'm sure that the dealerships are going to want to get rid of their stock that they've got allocated. So all the best with your search. And guys, if you've placed an order on one, let me know which one you've got and why. And also, if you are an existing owner, I'd love to hear from you guys too. How has the car been going? Alright, so just a short one on safety. So EV3 is absolutely a safe car across all variants. Good thing to know as well is that it did recently score a 5-star NCAP safety rating. So I'll put a link in the description to the assessment scores that I've got here. So adult occupant protection at 83%, child occupant protection at 86%, vulnerable road user protection 78%, and safety assist 81%. In terms of safety technology, you can see there is AEB rear, AEB VRU, AEB junction, AEB back over, and LSS. Lots of jargon there. What I recommend is read the individual assessment in terms of the actual ANCAP safety report, because it does go through page by page the specific tests, where it went well and where it didn't go well. So it's a 10-page PDF document, and let me just put it up to the screen so you guys can see. That's the level of detail that the report goes to. Hopefully you can see that there. So based on the various tests that they put the car through, it pretty much shows you everything, where it went well, where it didn't do well. So don't just judge a car by the percentage. Numbers only tell a certain amount of information. The rest really comes down to the actual report, because numbers are subjective at the end of the day. Like, what quantifies at 80 versus 81%? It's going to be something in the actual report to tell you what that difference is. So now you know. Also, in terms of driver assistance, as you may have heard, you know, the car does ding you a fair bit for speed limits, as an example. So let me show you here in the driver assistance settings section. Driver convenience, safety, speed limit, driver attention warning, parking, safety. The key one really is speed limit, because as I said earlier on, it's not always accurate. It just picks it up based on camera. So if you're going through a school zone, it'll switch from, say, 60 down to 40. Then it'll start pinging you to say you're going over the speed limit. So there's obviously this one over here. You've also got one over here. And then on the heads-up display, hopefully you can see it, there's one over there as well. The good thing is you can change it through the speed limit section here to turn it off. But one better, they have actually implemented this into the steering wheel control. So normally this is to mute and unmute your music if you just click it once. But if you hold this down, and I'm just holding it down now, look at that. Speed limit warning is off. And then if I push it down again and I hold it down, there you go, it's on. Good job, Kia. Love that shortcut. Fantastic thing that you've enabled. But better yet, you could just enable the better speed sign recognition warning to fix that. But maybe that's in another update in the future. Either way, kudos to you guys. You've got that shortcut there and it is absolutely appreciated. Right, let's talk all things infotainment. So on the home screen, phone, CarPlay, memo, weather, calendar settings, manual, notifications, vehicle diagnostics and valet mode. Really far to the left, you've got EV, map, Apple CarPlay. When you hit EV, gives you general details about the car, which is actually quite convenient. So telling you nearby charging stations, utility mode on, so that's turning your V2L on, and then schedule charging, tap that to get more information. Currently over here it tells you 80% of my use is for electronics, 0% driving, climate 20%, battery care. You can tap on that to, I guess, get more details over here as well. And you can also see history here as well for more details based on daily breakdown of your consumption or usage. Jumping back to the home menu, we go into settings for the car. We're not going to go through every single one here, but the main ones that you want to see is vehicle, driver assistance. So these are your usual convenience settings, and to turn off all the notification warnings that start dinging you and whatnot. So speed limit here as an example for what I covered earlier. Drive mode. So this is just changing your own personalized drive mode to however you want. There's only a couple of settings there, so not too much. Brake mode, I've covered off around brake feel, brake pedal feel, drive mode, change alert, eco mode, climate control. You've got some climate settings over here. Got some seat settings. You've got seat easy access setting as well. So you've got passenger one as well in this variant. So you can actually set it so that whenever you open the passenger door, the seat moves back. So easy entry, easy exit as well. And this is for your main driver seat as well. Got some lights that you can control for ambient lighting, and this is only in the GT-Line, so you can set link it to drive mode, or you can change it to a variety of colors as I've mentioned previously. Then you've got some door settings, lock, unlock, power tailgate stuff, smart tailgate, so you can turn this on when you stand behind the boot. It opens when the key is close. And then some convenience options here as well. Jumping back, drive mode, gone through pretty much all of these here as we've scrolled through. EV is what I've shown you. You've got heads-up display as another one, which I've covered off in a separate section, but these are basically just your settings for the cluster and then the heads-up display over here. Kia Connect, always fantastic to have the app Similar to what I've covered before, you can basically see all the details about the car, and you can also control some of the car settings as well, such as preheating, preconditioning. You can set the different temperatures and whatnot. So it's all really, really convenient. And as an example, if you guys need to see it on the screen, this is essentially what it looks like. So you do have vehicle controls, EV service, charging stations, and so forth. And you can go to control down the bottom over here. So if I go to that, there's a whole bunch of settings that you can see over here that you can do, along with climate control, demister, seat heading, climate duration as well. So those are the main functions that you can do. I've found it useful to start climate control and demist the car since we've parked it outside overnight for a morning drive. So that's always really, really good. In terms of the functions, they aren't always instant straight away. What I've found is, for example, if I am starting climate control, I need to hit start climate control. Then what happens is it sends a signal to the car. Once it is successful, it comes back and it gives you another pop-up notification to say that it is successful. Otherwise, for the most part, it does work. It is very good, and I do highly recommend any EV should have this as a baseline, because wouldn't you love to be able to see what percentage your car is at every day, knowing whether or not you need to charge it. Other than Kia Connect, got some general settings over here, which is just, I guess, literally general information about the system, software update, and so forth. And on the note of CarPlay, it is wireless Android Auto, wireless Apple CarPlay, and it is also wired as well. Alright, so this is the section where I tell you guys what I like and what I don't like about the car. So, love the turning circle of this car. It feels really nimble based on the size of the car at 4.3 meters, and they've just done a fantastic job. I feel like you could sometimes drive in circles. So that is absolutely great. No complaints there, and something I absolutely love, because having plenty of all-wheel drive cars in the past, you really do struggle. You know, there are plenty of times where even in normal parking lots, you know, the ones that kind of go in circles or spirals, there are times where you have to do a 3-point turn in your car. So that's something that I guess I really like. Next thing I like is actually the side mirrors. So I mentioned it just before, but these are huge side mirrors for a tiny car. And so they give you heaps of visibility, and I don't think there's anything more that I could ask for. You know, they're not digital mirrors, and they work. They're great, they're big, and they also dip on reverse, both sides, not just one. So whenever the car's in reverse, you can set it so that you just need to push the left button or the left adjustment for the mirror, and they both dip down when you're in reverse, so fantastic. Okay, next thing I like is the wireless charging pad. So first things first, the reason why I like it is when you look at my phone over here, you see that bump over here where the camera starts, that silver framing. That essentially means that the phone never really sits flat. See that? Hopefully you can see it there. So if you look at the charging pad over here, and it's such a minor thing, such a little thing, but actually it's so good. This square here sticks up a little bit, so my camera bump pretty much sits over here, which is fine, which means that the phone sits there perfectly, and then this lights up to tell you that it's on. So that is something that for me is understated, and I love it. Alright, next thing I love is the aircon. What I mean by that, so you've got all your aircon section here. Now I still don't love this bit here, but more on that in a moment. But the fact that you've got these manual aircon vents, and that if you have a look here, right, you've got one fan speed at the moment. This is right here. I feel it on my face. Even at one fan speed, I feel it on my face. I've really struggled with our Tesla Model Y in terms of getting the aircon smashing in my face. It's been a real challenge. So I really love the fact that you've just got air vents that you could just manually move, and the physical buttons over here also make it even easier. So let me just position the camera for you. So again, temperature for the passenger, the fan speed up, down, changing the different modes, and then temperature for the driver. So all of that makes it so much easier to adjust on the fly, just with one touch pretty much. So absolutely love it. And the aircon, as I said, works so well. I think even on a hot day, you'd only need like 3 fan speed. You don't even need to put it up to the maximum. So fantastic. This car has V2L. I know, as a Tesla owner, I'm jealous, I'll be honest. V2L adapter, plug it in here, use whatever you need to from an AC port side of things, and then not only that, right here down the bottom, you've also got another port right there for AC power, right there. So V2L guys, that's where it's at. Lovely. There isn't one in the boot, but you know, it's inside. It's probably actually even better to have it inside there in the middle seat. So V2L. The final thing I love about the Kia EV3 is the versatility of the boot, if you guys have not realized. So remember, this car is literally like a Volkswagen Golf. So look at that. Look at how much space you have. So for a tiny car, heaps of space. And look, let me lift this out. It's not that heavy, so I can lift it out with one hand. So look at all the space. Literally prepped for you guys to chuck a spare tire in there. You know, you've got space in the front where you can actually put most, if not all, of the stuff that you see in here now. And the better thing as well is, let's see if I can do this with one hand. There you go. I can do it with one hand. There you go. That's the raised boot floor. So that's how it would normally look like. So parents, if you're putting in a pram or anything at all, and you don't want to lift too far up from underneath, you can still put your pram there, and you can still put stuff there, i.e. you can put some groceries there, we can put some here. You've also got some additional storage here on the side as well, and then you've got your tie down hooks over here. So really, really good. And did I mention you could also hide everything as well? So you've got all the privacy in the world. Also, electric tailgate. And yes, I am well aware that, you know, you do have to get the high spec ones in order to have that, but that's what I love. Another thing I love is the fact that this has iPedal 3.0, which means that it finally remembers your iPedal settings. Gone are the days where you have to always use the paddle shifts to increase it to one pedal driving, or to adjust that when you switch between drive modes, or when you turn off the car and turn it back on. That's all gone. It's finally retained the memory. Now, I know it's a minor thing, and for you guys that are just new to all of this, you know, you won't know what you've gained by buying this. So just know that it was a nuisance previously, and now they've solved it. So it's fantastic now that it retains the memory. All right, on to a couple of things that I don't like about the car. So the driver attention warning does still ping you a fair bit, even when you're looking for a parking spot, or you're just looking at the side mirror. You know, it really thinks you're really not paying attention. I mean, maybe that's how they're supposed to be configured, but it's really annoying. And, you know, you do need to actually push through the menu options to get to that, unless you set a shortcut to the driver assistance screen, which then reduces the number of buttons that you have to push. The speed limit is also quite annoying because of school zones and, I guess, time-based speed zones. You can, however, as I showed you earlier on, you can just push down that mute button or the volume button to shut that off. So that's not too bad in that regard. I also don't like the fact that this car, even if you are paying for the top spec, you do not get a 360 camera. It's 2025. I think if you're going to pay just above $68,000 drive away for this car, which is about $63,950 plus on-road costs, I would expect you to have 360 cameras. And I think Kia, you guys make really good cameras. So, you know, in my eyes, what's the excuse? There's no excuse. There could be other stuff that we're not across, but, you know, I really feel like this car would have been so much better with 360 camera. And on that note, the other thing that is lacking because of the 360 camera is actually I think it's called the surround view monitor. Basically, what I'm referring to is when you indicate, the cameras pop up. So it uses the side mirror cameras. And in some of the previous Kia models that I've driven, it actually shows you as a camera on the dash over in front of you. So I think that's always great because, you know, it helps you manage blind spots. So when you're indicating, you know that even if you just have a look at the mirror, if you don't see it, the camera should pick it up because it's literally facing the lane. So that's something that I feel like we've unfortunately missed out on. And the last thing that I don't like about the car is the fact that the charge port is on the driver's side. So this is opposite to the curbside. Yes, this may work in Europe, but in Australia, the curbside is over the right-hand side, is over there. And this one is here. And if you look at the size of the car, it's a small car, right? It's a beautiful car. Look how much that sticks out. I work in the insurance industry, and not specifically in claims, but I would foresee in tight spots, you'd have a cable coming out over here, cable sticking out like the V2L or even charge cable. These are going to get smashed. So, not a big fan, not a big fan. Alright, I think that's a wrap for the Kia EV3 GT-Line. We're at the end of the video. So, as always, I just wanted to say, from the bottom of my heart, a big thank you if you have viewed the entire thing. If you haven't and you've skipped through to just the sections you need and you got something out of it, also a big thank you. And a big thank you to my subscribers, coffee supporters and channel members as well. And as always, if you have any questions at all, drop the questions in the comment box below. Let's take the discussion there. Hopefully you guys found this educational, informative, and you guys also feel and know what it's like to drive an EV3 GT-Line. Fingers crossed the EV3 GT is going to come to Australia, and we will hopefully get our hands on that car as well, because that, if it's going to be a front-wheel drive car, to be faster, that's going to be a very fun car. And that's a wrap. So, as I said already, if you haven't subscribed, please consider subscribing. Also hit the bell icon to get notified every time I upload a new video or I post the weekly wrap for EV news. And yeah, that's it. Take care. We'll see you soon with another car.